Good afternoon. Welcome to this edition of Real Talk here on Shelbyville Now. I'm David Thomas, and this is Mr. Bo
Hello,
Gill.
hello.
We're going to dive into the big topic of the day.
Yes,
We've got a lot of stuff headed our way, Bo. Within the next 24 hours to 36 hours, we're going to start to see how this is going to play out.
The potential winter storm of 2026 is on the horizon.
There's been enough hype about it. We'll talk about what we've heard recently, just the last updated forecast, and kind of lead into maybe Elijah Kirby is going to be coming on at 4:30 on Southern Tennessee weather. He'll be giving updates and the models to show all that. Before we do that, we're going to stop and take a break from one of our sponsors here, which is North Star Services. And Bo, their company fits right in line with what we're dealing with.
Oh, right down the alley.
They do storm cleanup.
Storm cleanup. They do remediation, frozen pipes, anything of that nature that needs to be cleaned up. That's called North Star Services.
Yeah, let's hear from them, and we're going to come back and talk about what we're hearing right now.
Water, fire, or mold damage. Call North Star Services, Nashville's local, non-franchise restoration pros. We respond 24/7 to stop damage fast, handle drying and cleanup, and manage repairs start to finish. As a licensed general contractor with 20-plus years experience, we coordinate directly with your insurance and offer free estimates, serving all of Middle Tennessee, including Bedford County. Restore today. Rebuild with confidence. Call 615-203-9573.
All righty, welcome back in here to Real Talk. Bo, the last thing that I've heard is that from about Columbia West and north, they're pretty much going to get mostly frozen precipitation, which would be sleet, ice, snow, combination of all three, possibly mixing with a tiny bit of rain for a short period. And then as you move farther east into the south, that's about where we are, we're in that zone where they don't know for sure.
We're on the borderline. It's too early to call. There's a lot of speculation. Elijah's going to give our latest update, but of course it could change from then to when it happens. But they're on it. But regardless, we are in that area to where, whatever happens, if the cold air comes from behind it, it's going to be ice. There's going to be ice around, and that's why the border is so important there.
One thing that I've heard a lot of the weather guys talk about, and Elijah might allude to this too, that the cold air that's coming is shallow. It's closer to the surface than the typical saturation from the ground to, real high, 30,000, 40,000, miles up into the atmosphere. So it's not one big solid column. It's more of a surface surge of cold
with not
air.
Much to back up that temperature.
And you got that upper atmosphere that creates the snow, the cold temperatures up higher. So we have precipitation falling through that, and then if it's frozen, if we are at freezing on the ground, of course, that's called freezing rain when the rain comes through and it just hits and sticks like a glaze. I've seen people use donuts to characterize what we're going to get. The sprinkles will be the sleet, the frost will be the ice, and then the powder, this is the snow. It's like crazy.
Leave it to the human mind to create something,
Historically, Bo, we've had ice storms.
Oh, yes, we have.
You've dug into a little history.
I've dug into a little history. The history I looked at, it's limited to about 150 years ago. 1886 was the last largest snowstorm. It was like 17, or I think it was 18 inches there. There wasn't the infrastructure we have then. Telephone was there, but it was limited. During that, it was totally telegraph. That's what was going on. But I looked at some of the pictures from the Tennessee Historical Museum that they had attached to some of these clippings, and it was just disaster. There were several lives lost. Fast forward about 50, 60 years to 1951. Tennessee, we're talking here, Middle Tennessee. There was the same type, 17, 18-inch type snowstorm, ice type that did have electricity in most places in the 50s. And since then there's been several. That the one that I remember in my life from the 50s to about 90s, there wasn't quite as many. It snowed every 3 years.
We had some big snows through that time.
We did. 85 I know was a big one. But in 93, the blizzard of 93, they call that I remember that one. And that one, you know, there were drifts 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing all of that. And then the ice storm that happened about a year or two after that.
95 is when that happened. Now I know out toward Flat Creek, out on Ross area, Flat Creek area, out through there was a lot of people without power for a long time.
Weeks, I
on
believe.
The eastern side of Bedford County. It was really bad.
It was really bad. And most people even closer, just on the outskirts of the city limits, were out for days and days. And I remember, I was younger, and I remember hearing in the woods, hearing all the trees popping, just 24/7, just popping, pulling down, you know, all the weight on there, which, you know, structures could be in danger with all the weight that happens. But regardless, I know when we watch TV or when we get a lot of reports, we get a little anxious and worried this is going to be the storm of the, of the century. Well, it very well may be, but there is precedence for snowstorms here in Tennessee. But, you know, that leads us to, what do you do? You know, how are you supposed to react or prepare for this type of situation?
Well, it seems like the go-to around here and probably all over this area, the minute they hear snow, and when I say they, us, okay, me. We run and get bread and milk.
Yes.
Who sits around and eats bread and milk when it snows?
You don't do that. I mean, I do.
The bread, if I'm going to make a sandwich, maybe, but I'm not just automatically snow makes me want to drink milk. I'm not,
but I guess it's the easiest food that we can make something. I don't know, peanut butter.
What about canned food and stuff like that?
I like beanie weenies myself. I could eat.
What's wrong with
steak?
Yeah, maybe a little fried chicken.
Yeah, they're fireworks during all time. If you have a charcoal grill or some type of outside fire, there's people that get creative with these little candles, and they're cooking. There's all kinds of creativity. And then with snow, if you're limited on water, make sure that you use metal, but you can melt that snow in a safe way and consume it that way. We're going to be without, if this does happen, we're going to be without some of life's comforts for a little while.
We'll have water for the most part.
For the most part, and the ones that are on pumps and wells, they're going to have
a way to get it. Yeah. But if you're on city water or you have a good pressure system of water, cold weather is coming in after this, real cold, probably down in single digits, maybe for a night or two. And we got to watch that. But if we do have worst case scenario, which I'm thinking we're sitting on about 35 or 40% chance that we have a major ice storm, I'm thinking we're more like 50% chance that we're going to get some ice. It's going to warm up and melt, and it's going to be back and forth, and it's just going to be kind of a messy weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's where everybody's leaning right now, but it could change in 12 hours.
Yeah, and I think as close as we are, the best thing you can do is prepare for the worst. Because if the worst comes and you're not prepared, then you're in a time there. And how do you prepare? Well, there's all of us have our needs, but I would say the most important things are food and water and your
water.
Heat.
Most important.
But there's a lot of people that are on important life-saving medications. I would say go talk to your pharmacist, see if you can get maybe an extra supply or something. I wouldn't suspect that most of us, if we were out of power, wouldn't be more than
one thing.
A few days.
Here's one thing. Now, I don't want to cause a run on ATM machines, but everything that we use now requires electricity to make a transaction. People don't know how to count cash. They don't know how to write down and add and subtract to make a transaction without the computer.
Right.
But if we don't have electricity and there's not a generator, we might have some internet outages. You just never know. Get a little cash.
Get a little cash.
Cash and put it in your pocket.
Yes.
Because you might have to use cash as a backup.
Yeah. Get cash. Get large bills, small bills, preferably. The easier to do those type of transactions. But we still need things, so you need to have the capital. To buy the green.
Mr. Greenback is important.
It's very, very important. But these things like the cell phone, we're so dependent on. And I know we can keep these things going. I've got several of these chargers that are, that'll charge.
Well, I'll tell you, your biggest source for electricity is a full tank of gas in your car with a power inverter. Okay, you plug it into your cigarette lighter, you get 110.
That's right.
Some people can wire the heavy duty ones. I got a heavy duty one that's like a 4,000 watt deal. You just clip it onto your battery.
Yeah, that's right.
And your alternator is your
your generator. That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
And it's also a place of warmth.
Yes.
If you have no other place,
you can use your vehicle.
Make sure it's not in the garage.
And make sure you have
fuel. Ventilation and fill that tank up with gas.
Yeah, that's something to do.
And if you notice the price of gas has gone up 40 cents overnight.
Yeah, I wonder how that happened.
Let me listen. Let's talk about that just for a second. We're at 229 one day, and the next day we're up at 269 when people start filling their tanks.
Yeah, start filling their tanks up, and then the groceries, they didn't come down. So we're going and emptying the grocery store and emptying our wallets at the same time. I mean, don't get me started on the gas. I have not had
a good, and this happens all the time. I mean, over the weekend, it'll go up 30, 40 cents in a day.
Yes.
And we've talked about this before. Nobody can give me a clear, honest, straight answer. They won't real talk us.
There's
no real talk going on when you come up to something like that. And so I don't know what it is.
And there should be. I mean, the prices of the oil.
Maybe it's the supply for the weekend. There's more demand, so they just go up because they know you're going to buy it. I don't know.
Isn't that kind of a little bit like I don't know,
price gouging?
Yeah. I mean,
price fixing,
whatever you want to call it.
Well, there's a law against that. It couldn't be that.
Well, we do. Regardless of the price right now, it would be wise to fill up and to fill up cans if you got it.
Even at the highest price of $2.69 or whatever we got going on out here, that's cheaper than it was a year ago.
It is. It is.
Since Trump's been in office, fuel has gone down.
It's been volatile, but it has gone down. But you've got to be prepared, and your clothes. I mean, this is time for us guys. I've got some coveralls and some hunting clothes that I might have to pull out and spend the day in. I mean, salt if you want your or sand that a lot of people use for walking out.
Cat litter, I heard. Also,
cat litter,
I don't know.
Not used cat litter.
No, not used.
Yeah, make sure that it's unused. Yeah, okay.
All right, so you've got all these things. Batteries, I think, is important. Flashlights. Those type things so that you can get around at night. And if you're going to use gas logs, make sure that the ventilation is proper. And if you don't have a detector for the carbon monoxide, get you one of those and make sure you don't want to be have a poison situation.
You can have those situations and then be wary, be cautious of your wires, of your heaters if you're using any type of portable heater. Fires happen a lot when electricity is out.
Speaking of fires, Bo, let's talk about over on Highland last night.
Wow, yeah.
2 doors down from Black and Blue Sports, I think it was an auto shop. Caught on fire, and it was a massive blaze.
Yes.
And it was a miracle that it didn't spill over, or we didn't have some explosions because you had cars sitting around.
Yes,
that had full tanks of gas. And it was contained very well by the Shelbyville Fire Department.
My hats off to them. They were right. They went and faced right in the middle of danger. That's a bomb, like several bombs.
Could have been.
It could have been. And thank goodness, for the quick response, for whoever called it in quickly. It saved a catastrophe. I really hate it for the loss that
that fire was pretty big. If you didn't see it, man,
I saw a picture. There was a lot. You could tell there was a lot of oil and a lot of very flammable
accelerants involved.
Yes, and so
not involved in. I'm saying there was the thing was
involved
expedited. It escalated quick with the amount of.
It did.
Petroleum.
And that's what happens in the shop. Unfortunately, things like this happen. I'm glad there were nobody hurt as far as I've heard. No injuries.
I don't think so.
I mean, that right there is a win right out the gate. But we do have
back to what you were talking about. You're talking about electric heaters. All right, if we don't have electricity, we're not going to be using them. But with the cold coming on the tail end of it, if we don't use our electricity, don't plug your electric heater, your electric space heater, into a power strip. Go directly to your wall and plug it in.
Very important.
And don't take a power strip and plug another power strip into it.
No.
And plug another power strip into it, and then put your heater in it, because you're not getting the full amount.
You need
it's not good. It's a strain, and that's a fire hazard waiting to happen.
Read the fundamentals of electricity before you do that. It's not a great idea. There are sparks that you've seen the black on the outlets that happen. That's kind of the reasons.
Yeah.
Stay safe. I mean, the least we want in a winter disaster is another disaster, a fire or something like that.
As far as cooking goes, the grills that you mentioned, gas grills are great.
Oh yes.
Don't bring it in the house. Don't bring it in the house.
Don't
keep it on the porch.
And the generator, remember, keep it outside. It's loud. I know it gets on all of our nerves, but
But if you are going to have a oil type heater, or if you're using gas logs, the house or any type of gas furnace like that, seal off that room and keep it warm. Don't expect it to heat your whole house. And that's where you need to stay.
Yeah, and typically a centralized location of your house that has the least amount of windows, you know, the more inward you can get, the better.
If that's where your logs are, that's awesome.
It is. And I know we're mentioning things to get prepared for, but let's also be on the lookout for neighbors, for elderly. Yeah. You know, I know a lot of y'all that are watching this or that will watch this are in rural areas. And these are the areas that are most prone to this. Yeah. And you know that you have neighbors and a lot of y'all do have means to get out, tractors, four-wheelers, whatever. Just go check on them. Yeah. It wouldn't be a bad idea. And of course, animals as well. But sometimes the people are needed. And
I got an idea for you, Bo.
All right.
This is something that I tossed out to my wife last night. She was saying, what happens if our refrigerator goes out and all our food's going to spoil? Well, first thing you need to do is you need to create space in the freezer compartment of your refrigerator. Mm-hmm. Get 4 bags of ice and put in the freezer, okay? When the electricity goes out, start monitoring your temperature in your freezer and your refrigerator. Make space for an ice bag in the refrigerator part, okay?
I see.
Okay.
No, I see that. I mean, that right there would help keep the temperature.
And then outside, the temperature is probably going to be below freezing. Any frozen foods, just go ahead and put it outside on your porch. Yeah. Then you've got your ice stored in there, and if it starts to melt in the freezer part, put it outside. Yep. But you can keep your refrigerator cool enough you keep with the ice bags.
That is very good, especially with the cold cold weather. Yeah. Use the cold weather to your advantage.
Exactly.
And kind of, you know, you'll just kind of cycle them in and out. But you're right. Don't just give up and try not to open the fridge too much. You know, you want to open it as least as possible.
Charcoal grills, we were talking about that. That's a good way to heat up water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you need to heat up water,
it is
on a pot. I've got one of those kettle. I can't remember what it's called. A little smoky, I think.
Yeah, I know
it's a small one, but you can fill that thing up with charcoal, and that heat will stay in there for 3, 4, 5 hours a lot of times, and don't waste that heat. Cook stuff up ahead.
Right.
If you need to. If you're going to cook meat, cook enough for 2 or 3 meals.
It's energy. There's something during cold weather that there's not a lot of because it eats up quick, and that's energy. That's human energy. That's any type of energy. So use it to your advantage. Try to double, use things if you can.
We're sounding like some preppers.
I know. Look, we know how to prep. I think, it's the fabric of us here in rural parts of this country. And it's something that we don't, look for every day and not just consumed with it, but it's something I think to be wise. It's wisdom. It's being looking out. If you love your family, if you love those around you, it's something to prepare. You prepare your finances. You prepare many other things. I think it's important to prepare for disasters.
Yeah,
it doesn't need to be overdone.
Okay. But I'm still leaning toward. There's only a 30% chance that what we're talking about having to do this will happen. And it could be spotty. We could have some areas where we get enough to where we have problems, others that we don't. Elijah's going to update us here in about 13 minutes. Yeah. We're going to get off here so people can go and listen to that.
Yeah, please do.
But before we do, I want to take another commercial break before we wind down and talk about Norris Plumbing.
Yeah.
For all your bursted pipe needs.
Call Norris Plumbing. They'll be there.
Plumbing. Let's hear from him, and we'll be right back.
Norris Plumbing has been serving our community for 3 generations, providing reliable solutions for every plumbing need. From water heaters and water lines to kitchens, baths, and complete repiping, our team delivers quality workmanship you can trust. Professional service means arriving on time, explaining the problem, and completing the job with precision. At Norris Plumbing, we stand behind our work because your home deserves the very best. Call Norris Plumbing today at 931-703-5915. Norris Plumbing, trusted, professional, dependable.
All right. Again, we're talking about the potential winter storm here. There is a winter storm warning. It was put out earlier today, and that is through 6 p.m. on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they might alter this to an ice storm warning, or they might scale back just to a winter weather advisory, especially if we start getting rain. But the time to look for this is probably late Friday night, early Saturday morning. I'm going to say between 2 and 3 a.m. Elijah, again, he will probably be on and give us a timetable. But I think that's when we need to start watching things.
Yes.
And there are several sources online that are going to be live streaming.
Right.
Ryan Hall
Mm-hmm.
is going to be probably on 24/7. Max Velocity weather on YouTube. It's going to be on 24/7, and he's going to be covering this probably for 50 hours straight. And then, of course, Elijah is probably going to be doing some live streaming for us right here in our backyard.
That's right.
So, and then there's another one called Tennessee Valley Weather that's based, I think it's out of Athens, Alabama, or down toward Lawrenceburg. I'm not sure. They're going to cover that area. So there's a lot of sources that are going to be running nonstop.
Yes.
If we have electricity or if we have our phones, and we can get cell service to watch those, that's a good place to update on the fly.
Yes.
Where you don't have to sit around and wait. You can go right to
wait
those.
And keep your eye on it. But right now is the time to prepare. Don't over prepare. Don't go crazy. Don't buy all the bread. I mean, leave some for us. Come on, guys.
Yeah. But we're going to get off of here now. And we're about 10 minutes away from Elijah being on Southern Tennessee weather.
Yes.
But we appreciate y'all stopping in. And if we have any breaking news, we'll break in and let you know what's going on. And I'm sure on the weather front, Elijah will be on top of it.
He will.
So check out Southern Tennessee weather. He's all over it.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. And we thank you for our sponsors, North Star Services and